Today, we're continuing with our learning escapades with the inspiring Siatwambo family. We also got to sit with Mrs. Nachombe Siatwambo, who is the core director of the Great North Road Academy group of companies. And there are a few points that I want you to note as we go through discussing the people side of running an empire. The first one is managing the dynamics of leading 400 people. This is how many people they have in their team. As the company is growing, what the ins and the outs of it and how she deals with it to the best of her ability. The second one is making a family business empire work. All the ins and outs of separating work from home life, involving your children, managing societal expectations, even staff expectations to some extent, involving your children, the emotional maturity that it takes to run a family business empire. That is something I want us to pick in how she's doing it. The third one is managing stakeholder relationships, understanding that it takes an entire village to make the business work. It's like a baby. All the people who put their hearts and souls into making your business work, how do you manage all those relationships? How do you ensure that they keep going, they are nurtured, they grow, and you develop newer ones while you nurture the older ones? The last one is about planning. Planning for an entrepreneur. I know sometimes when we're putting off fires, we don't want to sit and plan into the foreseeable future. But that is the type of planning that informs our focus. So that's something I want us to pick up as she's going. Let's get straight into it.
Build yourself. Immerse yourself in practical knowledge. Learn from the doers. And get doing with Sarala Entrepreneurship College.
Let me just thank you for creating time for us. We have been amazed by what you have been doing with your husband and your team. And we obviously can only wish you the very best going forward. And for now, we are learning from all that you go through and the thinking process and working with people and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to hear from you some of the thoughts that, maybe we could get your perspective on that we didn't even ask Doc.
Okay.
Right. So the first one is just the idea of setting a vision. How do you go about envisioning what could be and now communicating that to others who are not there when you are thinking the vision?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think every vision has a vision carrier.
Right.
Yes. So my husband is the vision carrier of the entire business, I would say.
Yes.
And then the rest of the business, I would say it's expansion from the experience that we've been having over time. Yes.
Right. So, but when he's ideating and coming up with these thoughts, he bounces them by you?
Oh yes, of course he does, because I'm the right hand person in the
Yes.
business.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm co-directing this business as well as the school businesses. So he throws it to me. Of course, at times I also dream
Yes.
within the vision.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
would share, and then we are people that would always want to try and see if it can work out. And it's from that trying and also the passion that we have about running businesses that a lot of things actually work out.
Right.
So we've discovered to say we actually called to do that. Yes.
When you talk about trying, because I think he did mention it too, why are you not afraid of failing? Because some people think the thought, but they don't want to try because they don't want to fail.
I know, right?
Right.
Nobody would want to try to fail.
So you're
Everyone
not
else-
trying to fail.
Yes,
You are giving
everybody-
it your all.
Everyone else that wants to do something, they try because they want to succeed. But most of the times you find that whenever we do business or whatever project that one is trying to do, you will find that they are trying, but failure in the way is inevitable. It will come, and it depends on how you take that failure. Most of the times for us, we take that as a stepping stone to another level. Yes, so failure is always there. We have, hills and also valleys, even as we do the businesses. And when you get into the valley, sometimes you get discouraged. You sometimes start thinking, how did I start this? Why did I start it? And so on. But then if you have a vision and you have a passion to do it, obviously you have to pick up your pieces and then run again.
Right.
Yes.
The other thing that I think I'm very interested in, you have a large team of people. How do you work with people? How do you make sure you make the dream happen as a team? What's important?
What is very important about a vision is sharing with clarity on what the vision is, what your mission is.
Right.
You give the people a direction where you're going. And also telling people, even when things are hard at that particular time, I'll give you an example, Veronica, of the COVID time.
Yes.
Yes, we were in the turmoil of the hardest time, I would say, in the business. It was so hard. But then a lot of companies you saw, they closed. A lot of employees lost employment. Yes, they lost jobs. But in our case, what we did was we had to explain to our people the time that we're in and how hard things were.
Right.
And we also assured them to say, even beyond COVID, we still have a life. Those that really trust and also are in a vision, are supporting the vision, they have decided to be with us even up to this time. We're still with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are rising with you post the COVID.
Absolutely.
Now. Right.
They're actually rising with us post COVID time. Yeah, which we respect so much, and we don't take such people for granted. Yes, they're our employees, but then they're more like partners at the end of the day.
I love that.
Yeah, they're our partners because they have seen us grow and they're part and parcel of this empire that we are building. So they are also playing a very big role to this vision that we are growing as an institution.
Right.
Yeah, and then coming to how we operate with these big numbers. So we have given them roles to play. So people have got roles that they are playing. There's the leadership roles, the departmental roles to play, and so on. And then we have created different systems. So we actually involve them to create systems. Yes, so we put up our thoughts. They also bring up their thoughts. We put together and create a system. So when we create a system, for instance, for this institution, they will run it because they understand the system. So rare are times that they could jam on the way. Of course, they would consult from us, but because they understand the system, they run it very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it important to involve them in the building of the system?
I think for easy running, because of course, business is a hands-on kind of projects mostly, but there are times when physically you and I are not there to do the actual work.
Right.
But if a person understands the system, it becomes very easy for you to run even when you're not there physically. So it's very important, therefore, to make people that you're working with or the employees to understand the system, because even when you're not there physically, the system will still run, the business will still continue. Yes, because I believe the business must go beyond one's life.
Right.
Vision must surpass our lives.
Right.
It must run even when we're not there.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw the relationship. I see that they respect you, but they see you as one with them. So there's no talking down at them. Say, I'm the boss. I said left, so you must turn left. Does it work that way?
Oh, it does. I think for us, our employees are our colleagues. Yes, like I stated earlier, we do business together, we create systems together, but then also I think an environment that is not hostile works well, especially in the business area, because these are the people that are in charge of a lot of things. So if you create enmity or fear in them, you instill fear in them, they will not operate well, even just at home. I think it's the same thing. So the environment is supposed to be friendly. That is ourselves, of course, to make them feel free and work well. So people work well if the environment is not hostile. Yes, so for us, that is us. We don't actually make up, but that is my husband and I are people lovers. And even when we are operating like this, we just work like colleagues. There's nothing like, no, the boss has come. Some institutions you find people running away. But for us, actually, they run to us when they see us. Yes, they run towards us. So it's just something that we have decided that we have to make home away from home, because most of the times they're actually with us. They are actually in the institutions, away from their homes. So we have made sure that by God's grace, we make the environment be as friendly as it could could be so that they are happy. They should yearn to get to work every day in the morning.
Right, instead
Yeah.
of dreading it.
Mrs. Siatwambo keeps mentioning systemize or systems. I thought maybe we should unpack what that looks like, because sometimes when we mention systems, one would assume that we're talking about ICT or digitized systems. They don't necessarily always have to be digitized, but you do need to have a form of system that runs the company even in your absence. So here it's talking about defining processes, explaining what daily activities need to be done and how they need to be done, so that somebody who comes in is able to know what is expected of them in the day-to-day operations. Defining roles, who does what in the business. Sometimes we know that the entrepreneur is the boss, is the owner of the business, but the rest of us then don't get to know who is accountable for what and is responsible for what. So that needs to be defined as part of systemizing, setting clear excellence standards, for example, so that people know what they're measuring themselves against. Even when the owner of the business is not there, they should know what it is that is expected of them in terms of performance standards, even setting clear goals. And that's what sometimes make people not like working for entrepreneurs, is that goalposts are constantly changing, and it's usually out of emotion that the owner of the business will just be saying, I'm paying you for nothing. You are not doing anything for the business. What are the goals? What was set for us so we can know what we're supposed to do? So that is also part of, systemizing and explaining cultural expectations. There are values in the business. Who gets to define what those values are? There are written and unwritten norms. There are some formal and informal activities that go on in the business that make the business work. Define those for people so they can know how to share them freely and share even with those who are joining the business as new members of the business. And have transparent review sessions, and reward systems, so that it's not seen to be biased or, inconsistent, and people can know what they're working towards. We are all guilty of this as entrepreneurs, just defining what the system is and defining clearly what professionalism looks like in our business. And that way, people can also know, especially if you involve them, as Mrs. Siatwambo was saying, involve them so they can know. They can own the system and they can run the system in your absence. I really, truly loved that. So that's what she's speaking about, to say have a system. I think she makes reference of the system in many instances throughout the session.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I find interesting, and I don't know how to pose this question. Usually, because you are the vision carrier, your husband is the vision carrier, you're also the vision carrier, the two of you are providing a sort of direction for the team to know where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, innovation can also help if it's coming from others as well. How do you encourage your team to bring forward ideas? So they can also say, we think that could work, or you really don't like that.
No, we actually encourage that. Actually, that is one of the pillars that we have as an institution.
Right.
Innovation, yes. So we give them space to innovate at different levels. Like I alluded earlier, people have different departments that they man. So we give them assignments to come up with different programs. Of course, it has to do with the business.
Yes.
So they come up with different innovations for different departments, and then when we meet in this manner as general meeting members, maybe end of year meeting, they bring up all those thoughts, all those ideas, and then we include those plans and also the innovations to the vision of the institution.
Right.
So we have given them enough space to just bring in as much ideas as we can, because without innovation we could have not expanded this. I can literally tell you to say we have the vision, but most of the things, when you look around, you find that these are visions or maybe thoughts by different people.
Right.
So we bring
this is where they all come together.
Oh yes, this is all where they come together and they bring different thoughts, different ideas, and then when you put those ideas, those that are workable, we can tell to say, oh, this is nice, and would adopt it and implement it. Yeah.
Now this is a family business.
Yes,
we love the
Veronica.
idea of setting up family businesses. Some people actually don't like it because they believe, family conflict and comes to work and all of that nonsense. How do you make it work? How do you and your husband make it work where business is business and you are able to separate it from
Putting a distinct
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is one of the questions that always come,
Ah,
yes, because most of the times you find that people actually have a lot of conflicts between marriage and also the business.
yes,
And most of them, they don't actually like working as couples or
yes,
as family.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
but for me, the past 2 decades that I have lived with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
I think it has been an amazing journey where I have learned a lot.
Mm.
One of the things that I have come to understand is that most of the people don't separate business from family.
Mm.
Yes, so there must be a difference between work and also business. Yes,
Mm.
so home matters must be home matters. So it takes somebody that has maybe that has some emotional intelligence to
Mhm.
differentiate between relationship and business.
Right.
But otherwise, it works out very well if you understand yourself to say, I'm here for work,
Mhm.
and anything to do with home must be off at this particular time.
Mm.
And I'll do the work and report to my husband because he's my boss.
Right.
He's the vision carrier.
Mm.
So when I am here, I am the co-director. I am a pillar to him,
Mm.
but I need to report to him at the end of the day on how the work was.
Mm.
I have a line of reporting.
Mm.
And then when I'm done with my work, I go home, I play a role of a wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
So everything that has to do with a wife, I have to do it to
Mm.
my level best.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So
And it's good
basically-
because then if you he knows what you're also going through this side, he can be more understanding even on the home
Absolutely.
front.
You're right.
At least that's my conviction about this
Yes.
type of
Yeah.
setup.
He highly understands even when you're tired. He knows,
Mm.
like right now,
Yeah.
we are bringing up a hotel,
Mm.
which will be housing about 70, 80 rooms.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm more on the operational side where I have to
Mm.
check on the workers,
Yes.
is material in and all
Yes.
that. So by the time I'm knocking off, I'm tired.
Yeah. So you're
So-
project managing really.
Oh yes,
Mm.
yes, I am project managing. So by the time I'm knocking off, you find that I'll be tired, and it's
Mm.
something that he's understanding.
Mm.
For instance, getting a cup of tea, he'll get to the kitchen and make
And
a
get
cup
a
of tea
cup,
for himself
yes.
and understand to say, okay, my colleague is tired.
Mm.
But at the end of it all, it's an issue of differentiating or putting a distinct between work
Mm.
and
home.
and home.
Right.
Yes,
Mm.
which most of the people fail to differentiate. You find that people, if they've quarreled at home, they'll bring all those
In the
quarrels
office.
in the office and even make other people that didn't even know about it know to say, oh, there's a difference here.
No, and then sometimes even be uncomfortable because these are the bosses and they're
Uh-huh.
fighting about something
Yes,
from home.
and
you
you
don't
know,
know.
as a leader,
Mm.
when you bring something from home, or if you are aggrieved at home, you will not hide it here. It
Mm.
will show from the way you are
Certainly,
working. And
certainly.
apart from that, you find that even the aspect of spirituality is
Mm.
also affected. And where there's a disturbance, business also is affected negatively.
Right.
So we try by all means to harmonize whatever it could be from home, and when we come here, purely it's work and work.
Mm.
Sure.
Right. So how do you manage certain expectations? Because you guys have been running a business for a while.
Mm.
People know about the level of income you probably have. Even those who don't know, they gauge it. They'll be like, they're probably here. And there are certain expectations that they would have. And you are a family, you have family members, you have community. How do you manage the expectations that when you show up, gold must show up? How do you deal?
I know, right?
Yes.
Of course, wealth creation is something that is monitored by the whole world and society. When you appear anywhere, they know you, especially my husband, because he's most of the times on television,
Yes.
on radios and all
Yeah.
that, social media. So they know him very well. So whenever he appears anywhere, obviously they see money.
That's
When
the
they
starting
see him,
point.
yeah, the first thing is, oh, Great North Road Academy, oh, this
Yes.
was, oh, Twalumba Lodges and all that. So I'm sure they're amazed seeing him. Equally, my appearance this time around, I think it's attracting a lot of people. And whenever they see you, society expects something from a person that is doing well.
And how do you manage?
It's manageable in that what we have, I think we don't hide even to society. We try our best to give.
Yes.
Yes, we give back to society. Yes. And when we don't have, we openly tell people to say, here we cannot afford, we can't manage, and the reason is this and this. But otherwise, we would love to have also a normal life like any other person, where when you get into a place,
Too late for that. When you show up at the wedding, we're like, this is a family wedding. They tend to be handled by them. The
I'm
food,
telling you,
the DJ.
I know, right? So
Yeah.
it's a bit something that one has to manage as an individual. But like you said, when you're a public figure, there's nothing that you can do about it. So when you appear, everyone knows to say, oh, there she is, she has
Right.
arrived, and so on. But it's an issue of applying maturity, probably. Yes, maturity, and also understanding the people that you are with at that particular time. When it's time to give, if you're able to give, you give out to the society and so on. Yes.
Right. But without putting pressure on the business, now running it down because you're trying to please people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
because that can also be a complex.
We actually have tried our best to separate business from us. But of course, we are not separable in some ways, but we have tried our best to be disciplined when it comes to business. Business money should be business money, and our money is supposed to be our money, and that is the discipline that we have put. So whatever that might come on the way, we try our best not to get into the business.
Right.
Yes.
So I wanted to shift a little bit. I know we're talking about money.
I know.
And earlier your husband explained, we were asking how you guys pay yourselves. Yeah. And now you have children who are growing in this whole entire environment. And you spoke about moving, ensuring the legacy carries on beyond you. What role do you want your children to play in this empire? When you bring them in, how do you do it? Why do you even bring them in?
Okay. Yeah, that is one of the systems that we are putting up. Yes.
Why?
Continuation of business is very important. That is the reason we would want this vision to continue even when we retire.
Right.
Yes, by our children, obviously. Yes. So we would want them to be engaged. We engage them actually. We have engaged them even at an early stage, as young as 5.
Right.
Yes.
This little millionaire is running around here.
The little millionaire is running there, and even just other businesses like at the reception. Most of the times you find when they are not in school, they would come with us. They're at the reception receiving clients and also doing some ushering. When there's a wedding, you find them there with the waitresses. They are serving food and all that. So what we are trying to do is to impart in them what we have been doing. Even when we are building, like the way we are putting up this hotel, we bring them on board and they see what happens. Yeah, they see what happens. How are they building? What materials are coming in? We try to also teach them on financial literacy, on how the expenses are going on and so on. So as they are growing, there are some that have the interest of business, but there's some, of course, that are off because they have their own ambitions in life. But at least we have tried our best to align them with the business and also the vision that we are.
Right.
We
I
are
was going to
following.
ask if you're forcing them or they like it, like where they are with this idea.
No, of course, some they have an interest. Yeah, some of them have an interest. But
how many
some,
children do you have?
We have 4 together, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay. Fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there are some that have an interest. Naturally, it just flows when they get to the businesses. But there are some that you have to push a little further for them to be there
to be
because
part
it's
of
something that they want. Yes. So like there's one of our children who is so much into IT.
Right.
He needs so much into IT, these issues to do with businesses and all that. You pull him, he goes back and so on.
So you have to find a way to support
that as well, or you give him something to do with the business so that he can align it with what he likes.
Right.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Do they expect to be paid when they are volunteering their services here?
We have taught them that. Yes, we have taught them to say when you work, we don't give them money for free.
Yes.
That is one.
They earn it.
Yes, they earn it. So every time there's some work or every time they want something for themselves, we tell them to say, guys, there's no money for free. You have to work for it to get paid. Actually, they run businesses.
That's good.
So at our schools, they're the ones that are running the canteens for the pupils and actually they pay themselves. They pay themselves.
They put themselves on a
salaries.
salary.
Oh yes, they pay
That's
themselves on a
impressive.
salary, and when they get paid, they go buy whatever they want to shop, and then they come back to give a report to mommy and dad. to say, okay, mommy, this is what.
So
we
you are
have
the
done
board
this
of
month. We are the
directors.
board of
Right.
we are the board of directors.
Mm.
So they come report, this is what I have done with my money. I have tithed, I have done this, I have bought this, and this is my change. I want to have some sweets as well. Then we go like, okay, this is good.
This is fantastic.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you've weaved it into them that
Mm.
even outside of the business, just to have an understanding that
Mhm.
in life
Yeah,
you earn your keep.
absolutely. Absolutely. That is
Wow.
exactly that we have embedded in our children.
Mm.
Anything to do with the money, we tell them to say, you have to work
Mm.
for you to earn this money. You don't just get money.
Right.
Yeah.
And that you have to be patient with it.
Yes.
Because we normally
It takes days for it to come.
To
So one
come.
has to work for it, and then eventually it comes.
Right.
And it doesn't come the way you expect it. Probably to come in a lower, smaller than what you expected.
Mm.
Yes.
How
At
do you
times
how
it's-
do you teach them to have that humble spirit to serve and not feel that, hey, this whole thing here is ours and so I can't sit here and be a receptionist, and they just sit there and serve? How did you get them to that point?
I think the biggest teaching is something that they see every day.
Mm.
They see mom and dad do it every day. They see mom be at the reception. They see mom save at the kitchen and all that. And they see dad moving around with clients, selling and all that. So I think the greatest teacher that I have seen in these businesses to our children is ourselves, the way we have been doing it. So for them, automatically they are flowing in the way because they have seen it happening with us. So there's not a time that they feel like, oh, this we already have it, mom and dad have already worked, and so inheritance is here for
Yes,
us.
right.
No, but they have tried also to follow what we do. So like people follow what you do. Yes. So equally the children, they learn more from what we do than what we tell them. Yes.
Wow. Okay, let me come back to the business some more. You guys work with different people. Some are your suppliers. Obviously, we've spoken about the employees
Yeah.
and other partners that you bring along. How do you manage relationships, and what's important in stakeholder relationship management? Even the media, there are all these different partners in making this whole machine work. What's important in relationship management?
Well, stakeholders are very important in every operation. Like for instance, the media houses, the people that supply us with different products and services.
Yeah.
So for us to come up with this empire, it was the efforts of all those stakeholders. And for it to run, it still needs them for us to go ahead and run it and it be successful. Yes. So different aspects are applied to different stakeholders. Yes. Let's say, for instance, the media houses. So whenever we have an event, we call on them and they do the work. And it's a relationship, I would say, with different stakeholders that we have created over time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So they
so
have
it
seen
takes
the
time to
businesses
build.
growing,
Right.
and they are seeing it. And every time there's something, we tell them to say there's this, they'll always be there. They'll be available to just help out where they can. Yes.
Right, because I know that sometimes business is a problem. When entrepreneurs are low, they can be rude. When entrepreneurs are high, they can be rude.
I
So
know,
sometimes
right?
it's a problem dealing with an entrepreneur and their temperatures, and then losing key relationships in the process.
Yeah, I think the issue of temperament also is one of those. Yes, I think God has blessed us with good temperament. Maybe we are people persons.
Right.
Yes, that we must appreciate. Yes, I think you have seen business people, most of them, like you said, when they are low, it's bad. When they are too high, it's bad. So it's an issue of understanding yourself first of all, and also appreciating to say this that I'm doing is not just for me alone. It is for everybody else. So everyone else must be a beneficiary. I could be the owner of the business, but at the end of the day, a media personnel to cover this is doing it for a salary. Right? Yes. So when they do their work also, they have a benefit. So we have done all this because we have people that surround us, and we are doing it for everybody. Yes.
As Mrs. Siatwambo was sharing, a thought that kept coming to my mind is just the power of stakeholder relationship management, especially that part where she was talking about it takes many people to make the business work, appreciating those people and taking care of those relationships. I'm just thinking it's food for thought for all of us as entrepreneurs. How well do we manage the relationships with the people who help us make the business work? For example, just paying suppliers on time so that when you're stranded, they can be a bit more understanding. In fact, communicating all changes to the norm, how you know this is what was agreed or this is what is expected. If there's any deviation to the norm, how well do we communicate that so that people can move with you as an entrepreneur and understand why you're acting the way you're acting or doing the things you're doing? You know, I just could think of many examples. Engage in the tax authorities, for example, instead of running. They are stakeholders. That's a relationship to manage. We run, don't we, when we think about the taxman? But these are stakeholders. Our customers are stakeholders. How well do we manage the relationships with our customers? We think it's a given, but how well do we show our customers that we care? Somebody gave an example the other day about, helping your customers in decision making in a fair and transparent way that is not biased towards you. Even if you have two products, just how well do you help your client make a decision, an informed decision between the two products? In our previous episode, Dr. Siatwambo was even sharing about how they make visits to the parents of the students they have in school. That's going over and above to show your customer that you care. These are just thoughts around relationship management that came to me as I was listening to Mrs. Siatwambo, to be a bit more intentional about taking care and nurturing these relationships as we grow.
The phrase you used about being a people's person, or you and your husband being people's people. We have been burnt by trying to be people's people. We're not trying, we just are. Even after we have been disappointed and we say we will never try so hard for somebody, the next thing you'll see, we are working on,
I know.
So how have you dealt with that over the years? And people really disappoint us. Some turn their backs where you literally did not believe at that hour. Somebody that you believed in, that you thought believed in the vision, the whatever, just turns their back. And you have to, with the love you have for them, deal with the pain of it, patch up and try to make sense of it as you move forward. I'm sure you've gone through a lot of that.
I know, a lot.
Yeah.
It's people move on.
Right.
Yes. So one thing that we must understand is
we
that
took time to acknowledge that.
I love that.
Forever.
Yes. People move on. And unfortunately, they move on when you least expect.
Yes.
Yes.
And the wound hurts.
It does.
It's like it's so bad, but it hurts like that.
Yeah. Every time you go memory lane, you think, "Oh, I wish I was with her. I wish I was with him.
Right.
I wish I was with them," and so on. But at the end of the day,
oh my God! Even this that we're doing, there are those that we're wishing were here to be part of it, but they left.
They left. Yes. So people move on. And a human being is dynamic, Veronica. You could be seated and making plans for 2023 without realizing that the people that you are making plans with actually are on their way next week. They're going somewhere else. And you have, as a business owner, it's an issue of sitting down again and now check around who pushes this vision with us. Again, who would again come up to this level where we were with this person that has left us. And you find that probably you have invested a lot in teaching that person, and that person reaches a certain stage where you now want that person to be part and parcel
where
of
you can
guys
get the
to drive
returns
it.
of some of those investments.
Absolutely,
and you're like,
yes.
we're
So you
now
find-
fit, let's go.
And that person goes at a time that you want them the most.
How do you reason
Off
it
they
out
go.
for yourself?
Well, it's not an easy exercise to go through. It's a hard one, but with time you heal, and God provides other people that would carry on with you, and you move on. So those are some of the valleys of business journeys.
Right.
And some people get frustrated and they go like, I think this is unfair. I think this person, and probably they'll even create an enmity with that person.
Right.
But this round, this world, it goes round, right? It is round and it goes round. You find that maybe in the near future, that person will come in another way that you are going to meet
For
again.
me, it's
to
even
do
worse. I start
something.
thinking maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something. So I'll spend months
That is the
thinking
thought.
it was me.
I know maybe
did
I'm
I
not
do?
paying her well. No,
Yeah.
maybe there's something bad that
Or maybe I
said. You
said
start
something,
checking
or maybe I
yourself.
did something. Yeah. So I spent months just
Oh yeah.
right.
Yeah, so those are some of the thoughts, negative thoughts that hit us as business owners, and you start checking on yourself more than you are checking on that person because that
Right.
person has decided. So for those that are deciding to leave, they leave because there's something that they are looking at in future.
Right.
But for you, you're looking at the past.
Yes.
So that is where the difference is. That is where the difference is. So this is the reason why I think it's more painful on us that remain than those that are leaving, because then they have left, they are going, and it's normal. So it's just important for us to understand and also not to say people move on.
Yes.
And when they move on, you sit down, re-strategize, replan, and start re-engaging
Others as well.
others that
and
have
have
the
no
ability.
hostility with the one who left.
No, because the
Right.
one day you meet with that person, and you know, like I stated earlier, this world goes round.
Yes.
So this is the reason why even those that leave, you must leave a good relationship when you're leaving, because you don't know what the Lord has for you tomorrow with that particular person.
Right.
And each person, I believe, they're there for a certain period of life, for a certain period of time rather, in our lives. And God in his own wisdom knows to say at such a time this person will leave. Yes, and you
Oh,
continue.
God just needs to whisper to me all the
Yeah.
time, because sometimes they're just gone in the morning. You're like, where is that person? There are those who say, you know, I'm leaving. I have I found greener pastures.
And some will not
and you-
even tell you.
Some of you wake up in the morning, you ask you, hey, where is so and so?
And
Have
no,
you heard
madam,
from?
no, she's unwell. And no,
And then
madam,
months just pass,
and
you're
you'll
like,
be shocked that
okay.
you'd be the only one that didn't know about
No,
it.
So you know, just hearing from you and embracing that people move on, and it's a part of the journey. Embrace it, support them, be happy for them, recalibrate, and move forward again. So what is the importance of planning? As entrepreneurs, we like to just take, you know, when the fire is here, you put it off. There's something is burning there, we put some water, we then get caught up in that. And when you talk about planning maybe for the next year or planning for the next 6 months, in entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs, they would plan if you want a business plan to give me money, but planning for the day to day and planning for the next period, what value would you place in it? Do you do any planning across your empire?
A lot of planning is done, and I'm sure you can attest from what you have seen to say there was serious planning on each and every level.
I was even surprised about how quickly you were able to pull it up.
Yes.
You know, from the plans. So they may have been very clear plans. This is what we're trying to do.
There has been a lot of planning, Veronica. A lot of planning. And because there has been a lot of planning, this is the reason why we have managed to acquire what we have managed to acquire. And one value that I attach to planning is the focus aspect, because planning comes with a lot of other aspects, like the timeline. When do we hope to finish this particular project? Who do we work with? Which stakeholders do we put in as we run up to a certain stage, and so on. So there's a lot of planning, how much money is involved in this, because without planning you cannot know how far it will take you, because you might be planning to do something, and if you don't bring in some of the aspects, you find that the project will hang.
Yes, we'll come back 6 months later, and this hotel is still.
You didn't do proper planning.
Right,
Did you look at every aspect to say, okay, by such a time, like we are planning, God willing, to say, we'll open the first floor of our rooms by March. So meaning we have done serious planning to do with finances. Are we able to do? We have done projections. We have done the cash flows. We have done also the human resource aspect, and everything that needs it around for it to be successful by a time that we have also planned to open it.
Right.
Yes. So the focus aspect is one thing, one value that that I have attached to planning. So it gives you a focus if you have planned, you know, to say, even if this other thing comes, I'll ignore it, and I'll make sure that at least this is done because of the time that we have put ahead of us.
So you do think about the other things that may derail your focus, and you're like, that may come, but I'm gonna
finish this before I'm derailed to other things, so that I achieve this. Because if you are not very careful, you find a lot of things that will derail you, and then you find that you will not reach your goal for that particular project. So it's very important for everyone to plan in these businesses, failure to which you cannot attain anything.
Right. And you, with so much revolving around you,
Mhm.
do you also plan for your own time to say, if I'm the one overseeing the
Mhm,
hotel, I
mhm.
shouldn't also book myself to be the one extending the hospital on the other side? Do you do that? Or you find yourself stretched sometimes? You're like, oh, the hotel is coming up, the hospital is growing, there's
Uh-huh.
another school coming up.
Yeah, of course, there are times when we are like strained because of many programs, and you
Yes.
find that those are so important, especially end of year.
Yes.
When there's planning, you find that there is a system, of course, that is working at the hospital. There's a system that is working at the school, and a system that is working at the hotels. But there are some months that are so straining where it's the month of planning, like this month,
Right.
and everybody in those systems that we have created, they're having meetings for 2023, and they want you to be there to give an input,
And you're here with Veronica.
and you are here with Veronica. So you find that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, but we try our best to be available, especially during meetings that are cardinal to do with planning, especially.
Right.
We will be there to guide and also to give our part to that planning and so on. We try our best.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you allow your managers across to also have leeway to,
Yes.
to plan
We
what
have
they
given
believe.
them enough room so that they can also
How
do at a
difficult was that?
certain,
Because this is like giving somebody your baby and saying, okay, I can trust you. How
Oh, yes.
difficult is it to
It's something that is
let go a little bit?
yeah, sure. It's something that is a bit difficult because you love it so much. And there's some people that work, Veronica, I can tell you.
Right.
There are people that really buy into visions. Employees that are so amazing, and you'd wonder to say this person works like this thing is hers or
Right.
his. And when you find such kind of an employee, it's very easy for you to let go of some of the things because you know this thing is in safe hands and it's working well. So it becomes easy for you to let go when you trust that person, and you have convinced your mind to say, I think this is best in her hands,
Right.
or in his hands. Yeah, so we let go because we need it to move, and we need to be found somewhere else. So in order for us to achieve that, somebody else must run it.
Right.
On this issue of planning, guys, we need to plan as entrepreneurs. As Mrs. Siatwambo was talking, I was thinking, yeah, we need to have a clear sense of what we're targeting in the short to medium term. And the people who are working with us, who are trying to make the dream happen, also need to have a general sense of direction. Where are we going? What are we aiming for? Of course, we should be flexible and nimble to roll with the unforeseen punches as they roll up. But there needs to be a sense of knowing that this is the target and we can get back to it. We put off fires a lot, and that's what we live for as entrepreneurs. But sometimes in the course of dealing with all these moving parts in the business, you don't know how far off you have derailed from the course. So a plan is sort of that compass that can at least inform our focus. So this was a great takeaway from me, not to be afraid of planning, and not only plan when it's a business plan that has to be taken somewhere for financing, but our day-to-day activities and the next 6 to 12 months, a plan for such. Food for thought.
What about the legal side of things? You know, your legal proceedings, your contracts and whatnot. Do you have a legal body, or you have a legal firm that you work with?
Obviously, we have HR. We have a department actually that work with the legal personnel.
I
It's
see.
a department, a big department on its own, and you know, dealing with different departments, dealing with different people with different levels of education.
Yes.
They must be managed by a qualified legal framework. Yes, so that is what we have done. So most of the cases to do with legal matters and signing of contracts and all that, there's a special committee that sits to do that. So that becomes actually, reducing the burden on our part.
Yes.
Because they just bring to us, so this is what we are planning to do, and this is what, and according to the laws, this is what is supposed to be done.
Have you been burnt
And they
before?
move on.
This is what made you say, "Oh, we need a whole department."
Oh yes,
You have.
I think we have several times.
Yeah.
Severally we have.
Yes.
And this is the reason why actually we went that way. We said, no, I think there are some things that are supposed to be done by professionals. And we realized, I think legal professionals would do a good job.
Right.
So that we are lightened by this burden of checking on who has done what, who does what, and all that.
Yes.
So we want the focus to be on the business and also the standards not to go down.
Right.
So that these other aspects can be checked with the people that that are
Mm.
that are trained in that.
Right.
Yes.
You know, we're looking at you, and this is Mrs. Siatwambo. We all want to be you,
I know,
and we know
right?
that as part of this success has been
Mm.
failure, and you've spoken about that.
Mhm.
Could you maybe pull out a moment that you felt was your lowest, just so we can know
Mhm.
success, failure is part of this success. It's not the
Mm.
opposite of it. It's
Mm.
part of it. Can you maybe share just that moment where you felt like, you know what, this is it. I'm done. I will not be continuing.
Severally.
Yeah, several.
It's been a journey, like I said.
Yeah.
I think most there's been a lot, and and there are times where you feel like, I think this is not right, or this is not me, this is not going anywhere, and
Yeah.
all that.
Right.
um I think at times I think are fights by people probably that are leaving abruptly. Yes, and probably this is a person that you had trusted in the institution, and you put all your heart and everything to say, okay, this person is going to run a particular department,
Right.
and then at a time that you least expect, this
They just
person and no notice.
yes.
So that could be a moment that I always remember, and I go like,
So
okay,
you counsel yourself.
yes, I start counseling myself, and I want other people to come and counsel
Cancel
me
you.
even.
Sometimes I say to my husband, please counsel me on this one. I'll explain the problem along the way. I'm counseling
Yes.
myself. It just goes, At the end, I'm like, okay, so start counseling me.
And there's
Yeah.
some employees that you get to tense and go beyond just work. They become
Yes.
family.
Yes, I've
Because
even
you're
called
with them
some my
every
brother.
day.
Yes.
They are like brother and sister, and you share a lot with them. And this person just decides to leave at a time you least expect it.
Right.
And then now you are wondering, how will I train another person to reach that level?
Right.
How
And how will
and
I even
who?
trust again to that level?
That's especially the trust aspect, because this is a person probably that had the entire system in her hands, in his hands, and it's just a phone call away. Oh, I need this, and it's done.
Right.
So those are some of the lowest moments I can remember. I can recall.
Right. And there have been many.
There have been.
Yeah.
Many of them, yes, because like I said, people are on a journey.
Yes.
And you can't hold on to somebody and say, no, you're not going anywhere. They have other plans and they have to move on. The family has planned to do something, and you just go like, okay, it's my lowest moment, and I have to pick up the pieces and start moving again.
Right. Put
And
myself
like
together.
I said earlier, training somebody, especially in these cardinal positions, is not easy. Yeah, it takes time, and that time that you have invested, you expect to start reaping maybe after 2, 3, 4 years of training someone. And here's somebody that has trained for 3, 4, 5 years. Then that's the time now you start wanting to relax and say, okay, I think I can even sleep today because somebody is there
around.
And then you just see that person leaving. And then you start thinking of the journey, memory lane of how to train another person to reach that stage is so deteriorating.
It rips your heart
and it
in
just
pieces.
rips exactly.
Yeah, but now we have young people who would really love to see themselves running an empire, even half the size of yours. And please talk to them, encourage them. They're looking at the rate of unemployment in our continent, and they're thinking, can I really do it? Can I start a business? Can I serve? Can I make money? Can I employ others? Maybe just look into the camera with 1 or 2 words and encourage them.
What I can encourage the youths that are coming, maybe those that are planning to do entrepreneurship, it is the best thing to do as an individual, as a team, as family. It is the best thing that you can do. Here we are as family, we're able to run the businesses. It's an issue of understanding yourself, knowing what you're supposed to do, and also maintaining your lane, and also having a discipline of differentiating between a relationship as well as the business. So when you are in a relationship, separate that from the business, because business is cardinal. It has to move on. It has to make a profit. You are dealing with a lot of people that are under you, and you have to manage those people properly. So when it comes to family, you have to also balance it. you are a family person, you have to take care of the children or other family members that you have in your home, and you have to balance it up, in other words. Otherwise, I'm encouraging everybody out there that are watching us, that will watch this video, to say, get into business, get into entrepreneurship. No matter the size of the business, it still works out and it grows with time. Don't be in a rush to get rich. Don't be in a rush to achieve things. So for us to get up to where we are, it is because we have been working over time, and we have been working very hard. The discipline aspect is what I'm emphasizing. Even as you are doing business, no matter how little, you have to make sure that you apply a lot of discipline. Thank you very much for watching.
Wow, what an incredible session. For me, the recurring theme is people, 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 managing people, dealing with relationships. And we cannot close without, challenging each other on what we're going to do with the information that we've gotten. I have 2 challenges for us. The first one is about systemizing. What sort of things need to be in place for you as an entrepreneur in your business, for the business to continue running in your absence and running to expected standards, not just running? What are those things that need to be in place? Please go work them out. Let's put it down. What processes need to be in place? What clear reporting lines need to be in place, etc. Let's go work them out. Can you come back in a month and say, I think I've now systemized? So you can take a break and not feel like the business is going to crumble in your absence. The second challenge I have for us is stakeholder relationship management. Let's reflect on the relationships that we have with different people who help us make the business work. Reflect on the former relationships that we've had. I mean, I'm doing the same, even as these people are going. You could hear me in the video. So what about you? What are those former relationships that you've had? What things have gone wrong in those relationships? When you reflect on them, how better can you perform in your relationships going forward? Even currently, the relationships that you have which are related to your business, or you want them to be related to your business, what value are you bringing into those relationships? What are you doing to nurture those relationships? Where are you mending the broken parts in those relationships? I mean, I'm asking you these questions. I'm also asking myself and my team. So we all need to get to work and manage these relationships that we have been given to make the dream happen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Now, let's go and do.